He was called the most hated man in America. He was dubbed a robber baron, but he was also the man the New York Times would later call the world's greatest giver. He was America's first billionaire and, by some measures, the richest person in modern history. This is the story of John D. Rockefeller, a paradox of wealth and piety. Born in 1839 in upstate New York, Rockefeller's childhood was shaped by two powerful, opposing forces. His mother, Eliza, was devoutly religious and taught him the principles of saving, working, and tithing, giving 10% of his earnings to charity, a practice he maintained his entire life. His father, William, was a traveling salesman, a con artist, and often absent, teaching John a different, harsher lesson: trust no one. By age 16, Rockefeller landed his first job as an assistant bookkeeper in Cleveland, Ohio. He was obsessed with efficiency, meticulous in his records, and disciplined with his money. His great ambition, as he wrote in his ledger, was simple: to make $100,000 and live 100 years. Then, in 1859, the ground burst open in Titusville, Pennsylvania. Oil black gold was discovered. It was a chaotic, dirty, and wild business. While everyone else was scrambling to drill, Rockefeller saw the chaos and saw something else: order. He realized the real money wasn't in drilling the unpredictable oil. It was in refining it and controlling the means of transport. In 1870, Rockefeller and his partners founded the Standard Oil Company. His goal was unprecedented: to bring order to the chaotic oil business and, ultimately, to control every drop of oil. Rockefeller used a strategy of two-pronged integration. First, horizontal integration. He began buying up all his competing refineries in Cleveland Ruthless campaign that became known as the Cleveland Massacre. He would offer rivals a chance to join Standard Oil or face being crushed by his superior efficiency and price wars. Most chose to join. Second, vertical integration. He didn't stop at refining. Standard Oil bought pipelines, railroad tank cars, storage facilities, and timberlands for making their own barrels. By controlling every single step of the process, he eliminated waste and drastically cut costs. His motivation was simple: we are refining oil for the poor man, and he must have it cheap. And he did make it cheap. Standard Oil's kerosene brought light and warmth to millions of homes, replacing expensive whale oil and dim candles. By the early 1880s, Rockefeller controlled about 90% of all oil refining and marketing in the United States. Standard Oil was not just a company, it was a near-perfect monopoly. He achieved his goal of efficiency, creating a product millions needed, but at a moral cost. Rockefeller's success made him the poster child for the Gilded Age capitalist. While he saw himself as a visionary bringing efficiency to the market, the public and the press saw a greedy tyrant. The backlash was fierce. Muckraking journalists, most famously Ida Tarbell, whose father had been crushed by Rockefeller, exposed his ruthless tactics. They revealed secret deals with railroads, predatory pricing, and the sheer power he wielded over the American economy. He became widely known as the most hated man in America. The political and public pressure eventually led to action. In 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly and ordered it to be broken up into 34 separate companies. Rockefeller was forced to dissolve his empire. But the outcome was ironic. He owned shares in all 34 companies, and the separation actually made him even richer. The market value of the individual parts surpassed that of the whole, making him the world's first genuine billionaire. As he aged, Rockefeller began to focus entirely on the other side of his personality, philanthropy. After a health crisis in his early 50s, he realized he couldn't take his money with him. He hired an advisor, Frederick T. Gates, and began applying the same methodical, disciplined approach he used to build his business, to giving away his fortune. This wasn't just charity, it was scientific philanthropy. Instead of just giving to the poor, he invested in institutions designed to solve problems permanently. He founded the University of Chicago and Rockefeller University, a major center for medical research. He created the Rockefeller Foundation, which focused on global public health, eradicating diseases like hookworm in the southern U.S., and funding the research that led to the development of the yellow fever vaccine. In total, John D. Rockefeller gave away an estimated $550 million, over $10 billion in today's value, and at the time, more than anyone had ever possessed. He didn't just give money, he created the template for modern institutionalized philanthropy. He achieved both of his childhood ambitions. He became infinitely richer than his $100,000 goal, and he nearly reached the other, dying at the age of 97 in 1937. John D. Rockefeller remains a towering, conflicted figure, the ruthless industrialist who ruthlessly crushed his competitors, and the generous humanitarian who systematically worked to save millions of lives. He brought light to the world through kerosene, and he brought health to the world through his fortune. Do you see John D. Rockefeller as a robber, baron, or a philanthropist? Let us know which side of his paradox is more important in the comments below. If you want to hear more stories of industrial titans, hit that like button and subscribe.